Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi Dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. In today's analysis, we're taking a careful and grounded look at a circulating claim suggesting that certain groups, often referred to as Tier 4B, could begin currency exchanges before the end of the month. The statement expresses optimism, pointing to a possible timeline as early as Tuesday the 31st, while also acknowledging uncertainty with phrases like, "We'll see what happens." As always, our goal here is to step back from the excitement and examine what this kind of statement actually means within the broader economic and financial reality of Iraq and the Iraqi dinar. To begin, it's important to understand that references to tiers, including Tier 4B, are not part of any officially recognized framework used by central banks, international financial institutions, or government authorities. These terms have circulated for years within online communities and speculative discussions, but they do not appear in any formal documentation from Iraq's financial system, nor from globally recognized institutions involved in currency policy and exchange processes. Because of that, any claims tied to these structures should be approached with caution and a strong emphasis on verification. The idea presented in the statement suggests that a specific group of individuals may receive early access to currency exchange opportunities, potentially ahead of a broader public rollout. While this concept can sound compelling, especially to long-term holders of Iraqi dinar, it does not align with how legitimate currency exchange systems operate in practice. In a regulated financial environment, exchange rates and currency conversions are determined through transparent mechanisms involving central banks, commercial banks, and foreign exchange markets. These processes are structured to ensure fairness, compliance, and stability rather than selective or early access for particular groups. From an analytical standpoint, it's also worth noting the language used in the statement. Words like "we think," "we're looking very good," and "we'll see what happens" reflect speculation rather than confirmed information. In financial analysis, the distinction between verified data and speculative opinion is critical. Reliable updates typically come with clear sources, official announcements, or documented policy changes. When those elements are missing, the information should be treated as unconfirmed and interpreted with restraint. Looking at the timing mentioned, the possibility of exchanges beginning before the end of the month, it's important to ask what economic or policy developments would support such a scenario. For a significant change in currency exchange conditions to occur, there would generally need to be clear signals from Iraq's central banking system, adjustments in monetary policy, or coordinated actions involving international financial partners. These kinds of developments are usually communicated through official channels and are accompanied by measurable indicators, such as changes in exchange rate policy, liquidity management, or foreign reserve strategy. At present, there is no widely verified evidence suggesting that such a major shift is scheduled to occur within the specific time frame mentioned. That does not mean changes are impossible in the future, but it does highlight the importance of relying on confirmed information rather than anticipated timelines based on informal sources. For those following the Iraqi dinar, this kind of claim often generates a mix of excitement and uncertainty. On one hand, it taps into long-standing expectations about potential changes in the currency's value or exchange process. On the other hand, it raises questions about credibility and timing. As a financial news platform, our role is not to dismiss these discussions outright, but to place them in context and evaluate them against known economic realities. In the short term, statements like this can influence sentiment within the dinar community. Optimistic projections may lead some individuals to believe that immediate action is required, whether that means preparing for exchange or making decisions based on anticipated outcomes. However, without official confirmation, acting on such expectations can carry significant risk. Financial decisions should always be based on verified information and a clear understanding of market conditions, rather than on speculative timelines. From a broader economic perspective, Iraq's currency stability and exchange policies are shaped by a range of factors, including oil revenue, government fiscal policy, inflation management, and international trade dynamics. Any meaningful adjustment to the dinar's status would likely be tied to these underlying fundamentals, rather than to unofficial timelines or group-based exchange scenarios. In the long term, the outlook for the Iraqi dinar depends on structural economic progress within Iraq. This includes continued development of infrastructure, diversification of the economy beyond oil, improvements in governance, and integration into global financial systems. These are the types of factors that contribute to sustainable currency strength and stability over time. It's also important to recognize that currency value changes, when they occur, are typically gradual and managed carefully to avoid disruption. Sudden or unstructured shifts could have unintended consequences for inflation, trade, and overall economic stability. For this reason, central banks tend to move cautiously and communicate clearly when implementing significant policy changes. Returning to the statement itself, the mention of a specific deadline, Tuesday the 31st, adds a sense of urgency, but it's crucial to remember that financial systems do not operate on informal countdowns. Official actions are guided by policy decisions, regulatory frameworks, and economic data, rather than by speculative timelines. When deadlines pass without the anticipated developments, it often reinforces the importance of relying on confirmed sources rather than expectations. For viewers who have been following similar updates over time, this pattern may feel familiar. Periodic claims of imminent exchange activity or major currency events have appeared repeatedly, often with shifting dates and evolving narratives. While each new claim may bring renewed attention, the underlying lesson remains the same: verification and critical analysis are essential. As we continue to monitor developments related to Iraq's economy and the Iraqi dinar, our focus remains on providing accurate, balanced, and responsible information. That means highlighting confirmed policy changes, analyzing economic indicators, and offering context that helps viewers make informed decisions without unnecessary risk. In practical terms, if there were to be any legitimate change in exchange procedures or currency valuation, it would likely be accompanied by clear guidance from financial institutions, including banks and regulatory authorities. These organizations would play a central role in facilitating any exchange process, ensuring compliance with legal and financial standards. Until such information is available through official channels, it is wise to treat unverified claims with caution. Staying informed does not mean reacting to every new statement, but rather building an understanding of the broader economic landscape and recognizing the difference between speculation and substantiated news. In conclusion, while the statement we've analyzed today expresses optimism about a potential near-term development, it lacks the supporting evidence needed to confirm its validity. The reference to Tier 4B and the suggested timeline are not grounded in officially recognized frameworks or documented policy actions. As a result, the claim should be viewed as speculative rather than as a reliable indicator of imminent change. For Iraqi dinar followers, the key takeaway is to remain patient, informed, and focused on credible sources. Short-term speculation can be tempting, but long-term outcomes are shaped by real economic progress and transparent policy decisions. Thank you for watching Iraqi Dinar News. If you want to continue receiving responsible and factual updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. And as always, please remember that this content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.